Hey guys, you're listening to the Shift Training Podcast,
where we talk about personal growth, talk about physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual health, and just overall well-being.
And today we'll be talking about happiness, fulfillment, and joy. So let's get started. First question, Vaughn, what is the difference between happiness, fulfillment, and joy?
What is the difference between happiness, fulfillment, and joy? Okay, so let's start with happiness. For me, happiness is something that's ephemeral, something that you can get from eating a lot of junk food, drugs, alcohol, sex, all those things that will not last long. So for fulfillment, that is something that is more long-term. So for instance, doing something that's genuinely fun for you, something that you love, such as sports or maybe painting, drawing, anything that makes you feel alive. And joy, on the other hand, for me, is something that's coming from a place of compassion, love, kindness, just service itself.
For me, the way that I view the difference between that is happiness is predicated upon what happens to us. So a lot of times when we're seeking happiness, we're seeking how can we make something happen in a way that makes us excited or gleeful or something like that. And we go, that's happiness. I'm happy when something happens. And then when I think about fulfillment, I think about doing something that you find substantially meaningful that fills your cup. So that is fulfilling. And they're not like tied together or mutually exclusive. Like they kind of play a role with one another. But I also think that you can be doing fulfilling and meaningful work, but not per se be happy. And if you're doing something fulfilling, but you don't find any happiness in it, then I don't think you'll ever reach joy. So I feel like you kind of need both of those to hit joy. And I think joy, like you said, comes from love, comes from compassion, comes from that, where your cup is kind of filled and radiating with some good happiness sprinkled in there, and that you're just emitting that kind of light. To me, that's joy. So let's go back to happiness. We talked about like some of the hedonic pleasures, like how to just get happiness from, drugs, sex, alcohol, etc. Things that are usually highly addictive and in a way kind of strip us of like, I guess our own willpower, you could say, I guess is the easiest way to say it. But let's talk about some other forms of happiness. So Vaughn, what are some things I could do to be happier?
First, I think we need to list out the things what makes us happy. It could be something in the form of meditation, working out, or anything that will fill your body with nutritious food. And those are the basic stuff. But also, you could always have some little entertainment here and there. Maybe eat some junk food or, watch a couple movies here and there. But just know that you don't want to be you don't want to go overboard on that. Just finding that balance.
Yeah, I think that's essential to really nailing happiness in a way they're supposed to. So like, let's say happiness equals some type of chemical hit in your body, and you need to feel that boost of energy or that change, in your body. So it's like, oh, that means this feeling sensation means I'm happy. You need to make sure that you're not addicted to that chemical release all the time. Like you cannot be living your life for the hit of whatever that chemical is. So I think if you're looking for ways to be happy, I would say seek out healthier ways to be happy, because if you're going to be addicted to anything, at least be addicted to things that actually improve your physical, mental, emotional, or spiritual well-being.
Absolutely. Like for me, if I've been working hard throughout the week, then it's okay to, have a little bit pleasure of like eating the sugary food that you like. You don't have to like really restrict yourself 100% full in, because you're gonna burn out and it's hard on your head. So my next question is, we're going to talk about fulfillment. So Law, how can I feel more fulfilled?
All right. How can I feel more fulfilled? This is one of those things that I feel is easier for me to answer because I spend a lot of time making sure that what I'm doing is meaningful and fulfilling for me personally. So when it comes to fulfillment, I think you have to clearly identify what it is you value. It's hard to feel fulfilled when you don't know what really matters to you. You might by chance be doing what really matters to you intuitively, But I would say for most people, it's really uncommon that you would be hitting the nail exactly on the head. Like, this is the thing that I value and is meaningful to me. And I'm actually doing it intentionally every day without being aware of it. And like I said, knowing and intentionally moving towards it. So when I think about fulfillment, I think about things that not only give you a short boost of happiness or that little chemical hit, but maybe think about it as a form of nutrition. Like, it would give you sustenance for a longer period of time. Even if it doesn't always make you happy, you still feel like it matters and it's valuable to you because it aligns with your values and your beliefs, and you're going to move towards that. And it's important to you. I feel like if you want to have more fulfillment in your life, one, you need to get more clarity around your values. What do you really value in your life? Two, you need to look at maybe some level of sustainability. Is that something I can take action on and it lasts for a while for me in my life? Do I want to pursue it for longer than a day? Do I want to pursue it for longer than a week? And in doing so, I think that's going to help you. And then the third thing I would say is, does it add value beyond your life? Because I feel that it's going to be really hard for you to find fulfillment if everything you do is just to cater to your impulses or hedonic pleasure. Without consideration or service, it's going to be really hard to really have an amazing network of people, a circle of love, a circle of care. It's going to be hard for you to have that when your behavior doesn't show that you really care or consider other people. So you need to know what you want, and you need to be able to take steps towards it. You need to see if it's sustainable. Is it something that you really want to do, can do, will step towards, whatever. And then as you're moving towards it, is there some element of service that comes into the play? And I think that's what's required to really experience more fulfillment. Vaughn, what do you think?
I think for me, it's like you said, I totally agree on all the things that you said. And I think that first one that you said is clarity, which is like self-awareness. I think that's so important because you'll never find true joy or fulfillment if you don't know what you truly want. So I guess I feel like you need to list out all the things first on what you want. And then from there, or another way is like listing out the things that you are already doing, and then ask yourself, is this coming from me or is it coming from my friend, my family, or teachers? Ask those questions. You might be married. Is it because you got married because your friend got married? So those are the things, just having self-awareness. I think we need to have some sort of like meeting for ourselves, not just like meeting to other people, having conversation, just to like, eliminate those outside noise and instead listen to that inside, what you truly want. So this, and this comes to my next question. How can I find more joy?
Ooh, more joy. So before we go to joy, I want to touch on that fulfillment note, because that was an excellent note. Not being super influenced by all the external things and letting them decide what's meaningful to you. I think that's really, really important, because you could be doing all the things exactly you think is right and scoring all the points with everybody else, and you can still feel unfulfilled because you don't really care about that stuff. So be mindful. And that tip is kind of for, especially for people pleasers. If you have, and I don't mean to say it that way, but if you have a habit of people pleasing, and people pleasing to the point to where you put yourself at a loss, some detriment, some resentment comes, whatever it may be. Fulfillment, like, you really, really got to work on them boundaries, and you really have to make sure that you find some time for yourself to list it all out really clearly. Without that, we can't touch joy. So let's talk about the joy part. Like I said earlier, I think that you got to have some happiness and you got to have some fulfillment to have true joy. I don't think that you can really be in a state of joy without gratitude and appreciation for things. So for example, you might have short-term happiness, and in that brief moment of happiness, you may even experience a little bit of bliss, short-term, a little bit of that. But I don't feel like you can stand or be or live in a joyful state without a little bit of happiness, knowing that what you're doing has meaning or value somewhere to yourself, and maybe to yourself and others, and then be grateful for it all. I think that gratitude is essential. Appreciation for life is essential to really have joy.
I totally agree. I think the key point there is the gratitude, having perspective. So many people out there are missing the point, you know? There are things that might not go in your way, but there's a reason for that, and you can always find lesson. So for me, joy, it's the top tier, you know what I mean? And like I said earlier, joy comes from compassion, love, kindness, and anything in the form of service, whether it be small or big. And let's say you went to a party from your family, you know, by just like helping out, setting up things, or like giving people like food or water, anything that will help them, you will feel some type of joy.
I think that's a great example. Let's talk about that dynamic in itself. So we're not going to talk about families being chaotic, and sometimes they're really bad, sometimes good, whatever. But just imagine, if you will, that you have had this experience or could envision someone having this experience where, let's say you're going to have a dinner with your family, and, you know, you guys experience some laughs. So you have a little bit of happiness, and taking the time to do this is outside of your normal schedule, and it kind of makes things a little bit chaotic for you maybe the next day or later in the week. But you feel that it's valuable and meaningful, and that your connection with your family is improving, and your ability to communicate your true self around them is improving. You're better able to establish you while in the presence of those you love without losing yourself, and having little bits of fun, little sip of drink here, some good food, everything's good. Y'all sharing some laughs. With that combination of things, it's easy for you at the end of it, with a little bit of gratitude, sharing that love and compassion amongst each other, to feel and experience joy. And I think joy is one of those things that people are really after. I think happiness is like, yes, in the short term, people are scrambling for that, but they're scrambling for the happiness because they really want the joy. And I think often a big part of the component that's missing is fulfillment. Then there's also a lot of people who are like personal growth junkies who really go hard on the fulfillment, but forget to take the time to enjoy the ride and embrace some of that happiness. And they don't really get to touch joy either. So I just want to give that example. I want to piggyback off what you said, Vaughn, in regards to the family example.
That's a great example and well articulated. And yeah, I think joy comes from, you know, seeing someone succeed, having a smile in them. You know that you help them out, you inspire them. So a great example of this is something that I still have this feeling of, like when I help out my cousin lose 100 pounds by, you know, like talking to him, long story short, talking about, you know, the importance of physical health, because that physical health could influence your mental health. And when I help him out, inspire him with that, I still feel that joy inside of me that I was able to help him out. And when he achieved his dream, I still feel as if like I need to be better every day, because that's true joy, you know, seeing the happiness in their face.
I think that's a great example of joy. The way that I was first introduced to the concept of joy was in the church. So in church, learning about that joy coming basically from connection, strong relationship with God, that it is love, it is life, it's compassion, it's all of those things. And the way that I perceive joy now is that it requires connection, but alignment. So alignment to the true you, alignment to the spirit, alignment to the source, all these different things. But without congruence, I feel like even if things are in disarray short term, even if the flow is like this and not like this, as long as it's still moving smoothly and flowing, I feel like you're still generally in a good place to where you'll experience joy. But if things are kind of like all over the place, is even with people who prefer more chaos than not, I still have not seen them say or express or showcase, like in some way, that they're getting to experience joy. So, and that's my personal life observation. So I feel like alignment, to some degree, some level of flow through the ups and downs, through everything, acceptance, appreciation, fulfillment, happiness, all those things. I still feel like that's required for joy.
All right, so that's everything else with happiness, fulfillment, and joy. So don't forget that happiness is something that is temporary, something short term, fulfillment is long term, and joy is the one that we're seeking for.
Guys, if you have any other questions or if you're interested in any more of this content, please like, subscribe, follow, leave a comment, all the things. We love to hear from you guys. It really helps us to improve and serve you better. Other than that, we hope you have a fantastic day.
Peace.